You don't want to miss this train. So Lord, we thank you in advance. Get ready.
Good God afternoon, people of God. You have tuned in to The Solution. I am your host, Minister Wright, with my brand new co-host. I can't even talk today. April, amazing woman of God, super talent. Got me a co-host, people of God. I am so excited. We, as always, we know what the problems are. We know we need to solve them. What I offer on this platform is solutions, dedicated acts of action that bring about true change, not just talked about change, and no excuses. Excuses are man tools of incompetence that build bridges to nowhere and monuments of nothing. Broadcasting live from IntellectualRadio.com, our heart radio station. And people of God, I'm going to let my co-host introduce herself, but today we're talking about OJ. And we want you guys to call in with your questions, your comments. The number is 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953. We're going to be talking about, did he do it? Is he innocent? Was he framed? Was he just one of the few high-profile black men that was able to beat the system, or really did he beat the system? We're going to get deep into that. Let me let my co-host, let introduce herself.
I am April. On Facebook, you can look me up under April the Agent. I do perform poetry. And poetry, my name is Butterfly, Ebo, Eclectic Butterfly Ocean. If you want to look me up, that's where you'll find me. And I am Minister Corey Wright's new co-host. I'm excited about the opportunity, and I'm excited about hearing from you guys today about OJ.
Now, before we get to OJ, because look at she leaned to the side now. Last week, she was scared to death in here. Now she leaned to the side. Now, if you like, would you like to give us a piece?
I can.
Yeah, give us a piece. We're going to put you out here. Then we're going to get to OJ.
Okay. Don't ask me. It's none of your business. If I told you I loved you, it's because I did. It's because it is. If I gave you the chance to love me and you couldn't reciprocate and then I walked away, don't get mad and say that I've changed. And don't tell me that you love me and then try to knock me down. Don't ask about my happiness or the new love that you think that I found. Don't ask about my friends or the people that I know. It's none of your business who I deal with or where I choose to go. Don't ask me. It's none of your business. And stop trying to tell me that you love me when all you want to do is keep me gagged and bound, locked away in your cage where no one else can see your quiet torture and how you've damaged me. Yes, I'm different. I'm strange, part of a peculiar people, but I'm not all deranged. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb, not crazy in the least. I know just what I want and just what I don't. See, your quiet torture, it will bury me. It ends my peace. Your quiet torture, it ends. Peace. And that's that peace.
Hey, y'all, you heard her right there. Hey, listen, if you date her, you already said, you heard what she said. Let's talk about OJ. Now, my personal opinion that OJ was set up and that he couldn't have done it. And we're going to go through some facts about what OJ, and we're going to talk about it. Some questions about OJ and why I feel like he's set up, and I felt like he got away with far as the system. He was high profile, but it was really Johnny Cochran. But we're gonna talk about it. Let's first talk about what happened June the 12th, 1994. June the 12th, 1994, his wife, Nicole Simpson Brown, and friend Ronald Goldman was stabbed to death. That happened June the 12th, 1994. But here's the thing. June the 13th, 1994, the day after, Simpson was questioned as he was traveling. He was questioned about his whereabouts, and he was asked to give 2 vials of blood. Okay? He was asked to give 2 vials of blood, and then they questioned him and let him go. Now, if you're a murder suspect, why am I going to question you, and why am I going to take 2 vials of blood and let you go? Right there, that don't make sense to me. Because if I know that you are a murder suspect and I got you already locked up, or I got you in custody, why in the world will I just say, now, you ain't charging me with nothing. You ain't said, you're telling me, what, you ain't told me what happened, but then you ask me for 2 vials of blood, and I give it to you. Because why would I want to give you something if I was guilty? If I had just committed murder, why would I give you something? Now we're going to, then he was questioned. Now, here's the thing about that. June the 17th, 1994, Simpson was charged with murder. And that's when he led them on a high-speed, a low-speed chase, 60-mile chase to his Brentwood mansion. Now, let's just deal with that right there. And April, I definitely want you to jump in this. Why in the world, if you think I could have committed murder, you asked me for 2 vials of blood, and then you charged me with murder 4 days later?
They said it's very low, that they can't hear you.
Okay, very low?
Yes, your mic is low.
Okay, it must be this thing. Go ahead.
Well, for me, I don't think OJ did it. I think OJ knows who did it. I think they let him go because they didn't have enough evidence to keep him. I think that OJ, I don't believe he did it for a lot of different reasons. One reason being the time frame. He didn't have enough time to actually commit the murders and leave to come to Chicago, because he came to Chicago for a golfing event with Hertz. And that was already pre-planned. Also, the fact of his children. I think that OJ, he's a father, so he loves and cares for his kids. He wouldn't kill his wife and leave his kids without their mom and kill her at the house where his kids live. So that's a couple of the reasons why I feel like he probably didn't do it. That's just my own personal theory, my own thoughts on the matter. The 2 vials of blood, you're right. I feel like that's something that a not guilty person would do, because he didn't even understand what was going on. He just noticed she was killed. He didn't know how she was killed. He didn't know anything. He was basically, this is all news coming to him. So I'm sure he was devastated, to find out that the woman that he was in love with and had kids with and had a history with was dead. And now the police are questioning him. He understands that the police are questioning him. He's going to be the number one suspect, whatever. But he didn't know, everything that happened. He didn't know that how they were stabbed, that they were shot, because he did mention that he had guns in the interrogation. So, I don't think that he knew everything about it. And then the low speed chase, I think that he was hurting. He was afraid, and kind of suicidal with the whole ordeal. He's a public figure. So now, he's used to people loving him. He's used to people saying, OJ, yes, you my man, can I get your autograph? And now he's gone from that extreme to a whole different extreme where people are calling him a murderer, and, trying to look for him to lock him up and, take his kids from him. And his whole life is in a downward spiral all of a sudden. Like this is not something that happened over a time period. This happened in a blink of an eye. Like his whole life just going down the drain, and he feels hopeless. There's nothing that he could do about it. What is he going to say? What is he going to do? He can't even really comfort his kids. He needs to be comforted. So,
that's good. And people, I hope you all can hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me good, because I want to make sure you guys
can you hear?
Let me know if you hear me good, if it sound good, because this is new equipment that my phone is crazy. So if it sound good, please let me know. And that's true. Why would you give a vial of blood? Now, here's the thing that they didn't really think about. You know why they had to see? Obviously, they didn't know the science behind blood, because blood, the oxygen releases from the plasma the minute it releases from your body. So they knew they were under a time limit to get that blood planted, to get it on their body's planet. Because if you have a murder, okay, thanks, it sounds good. Thank you, sweetheart. If you have a murder, right? You have a murder, why would you charge somebody 3 days later, 4 days later? But here's the thing, because the first thing you ask for a vial of blood. Now, the vial of blood, being that I am I have been through training, medical training. I'm not a doctor, but being a EMD and medical emergency dispatch and stuff, that when you give blood in a hospital, it's numbered. It's no names on it. It's numbered. So how in the world did a part of that vial come up missing? How did, out of all those 1,000 things of blood, they picked O.J. Simpson blood? Now, you look at the bloody glove, you look at the sock, because see, the reason why the glove didn't fit was because it was the wrong glove. They had to grab a pair of gloves identical that looked like it immediately, because they had to get this blood on there to say that he did it, because, you know, they don't, I guess they didn't understand. They weren't thinking that oxygen releases from the blood, which it showed, it gives a approximate time when that blood was extracted from that body, which it did not line up. So why would you ask blood? Because see, here's the thing. Why not charge me before you ask for my blood? See, you ask me for my blood, you stop me, then 4 days later you charge me. That's a setup right there. That don't make sense. What do you think?
I think that they didn't have enough evidence to charge him prior to the 4 days. So I do think that it was a setup, because he only cut his finger. So cutting his finger, he wasn't bleeding profusely all over the place. Cutting his finger, they got all this blood in the truck, all this blood, you know, across the grass, all this blood in his house, all these blood on shoes, and that really doesn't coincide with the cut that he had on his finger. And he stated during the interview that he cuts himself all the time doing, you know, playing golf and playing football and just, you know, doing everyday things, because he's OJ. So he has cuts on him, but it was nothing that was noticeable to him that he was bleeding. He's like, well, I don't know. I could have been, you know, I could have dropped a couple drops of blood, but he know that he was not like bleeding profusely, like he had to wrap his finger up with a gigantic bandage and, you know, go to the hospital, get stitches. It was nothing like that. So the amount of blood that they had, that they claimed was his, does not coincide with the cuts that he had on his finger.
And all the blood that was obtained in this case by Mark Furman, who is a known racist, we know that, was found equal to up blood. Now, it could have even been looked suspicious on OJ if the blood found would have, but it was less than or at the amount that was lost. So right then and there, I had a problem right there that's being set up. Then here it is. You charge him, Simpson, with murder on the 17th, 4 days later. He lead them on a 60-mile slow speed. And what he was thinking was, I'm set up. They about to set me up. They about to railroad me, you know, because, you know, let's be real about that. People felt that, you know, and a lot of the other race felt that OJ was one of theirs. He's a black man, but he was one of theirs. You, OJ Simpson, you with Nicole Simpson Brown, you have received a lot of doors open and a lot of advantages that you don't, and it's trouble. Now you want to play the race card. Now you want to play the card, and see, it turned into a black and white thing. It turned into, because see, you know, and it wasn't the fact that people was happy that OJ got off. It was because finally a high-profile black man was able to beat the system. But we'll talk more about it. But they charged him with murder. Now, he wanted to get to his Brentwood mansion because he figured, like, listen, they're going to shoot me out here. You know, I killed these people. They're going to shoot me out of here. What do you think about that? When he ran and he got home, because he got arrested, he gave up at home. Why was that a smart move on his part?
I think it was a smart move, but again, I think that he was afraid, upset. He was hurt. You know, his whole life was spiraling out of control, and there was nothing he could do about it. So he was gonna go home, and maybe his original thought process was to kill himself at home, or, you know, I'm gonna die at home. You know, if they're gonna shoot me or riddle my body with bullets, they're gonna do it at home, at my home. This is what I built, you know. And as far as the media and people in general loving him, I think that was all because of who he was and the legacy that he built with playing football, you know, as a sports person. You know, I think that was why people loved him and why people were, you know, for him originally before it became a race thing. And I think after it became a race thing, it was like kill the nigger, you know.
She got a little fire.
Like it was like, you know, hang him, you know, kill the black man, you know, he had to do it, you know, he didn't want to let go, you know, Nicole was this and that. But, you know, when all those things started coming out about her lifestyle and all the could have happened, they never really looked at anything else. They just focused in on OJ, you know. So I think that he knows who did it, but I don't think it was him. I think that he had nothing to do with it. I think that he had no clue what was happening when it was happening. I don't think it was something that he set up or anything like that. I think he really didn't know what happened until after the fact.
What do you think? Call in at 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953 to join this conversation with me and April. It's about to get heated right now.
Tamika Anderson says he didn't do it. He knows who did it though, and I believe his son did it.
And a lot of people do believe his son. Maybe he was protecting his son, but it was so many things that didn't add up. Now let's talk about July 22nd. He pleads not guilty. Mm-hmm. November the 3rd, 1994. The jury is selected. Let's take a look at the jury. Jury consisted of 8 blacks, 1 Hispanic, 1 white, and 2 biracial people. Jury was 8 blacks. You know, so right there, that was smart, especially Johnny Cochran, because you know what? Black folks at that time was tired, especially with just having the Rodney King, where Rodney King get beat by all these white officers and they get acquitted. Mm-hmm. They get acquitted while they got them on videotape getting beat. So people were tired of white people or white racist cops, because all white people are not evil, and right. You know, but these white racist cops that beat Rodney King got off, people were mad. So I'm sure when they seen this jury, they were like, wow, okay. And not saying that they played the jury, but a lot of facts didn't make sense. But when you look at that, 8 blacks, 1 Hispanic, 1 white, and 2 biracial people, what do you think? Because the trial began on January 24th, 1995. Do you think the jury makeup had something to play into the verdict, or do you just think that Johnny Cochran was an amazing lawyer?
I think both. You know, I think that he actually had a jury of his peers, people that were actually listening to what was going on, and they didn't have that thought process. Well, he guilty, and whatever they say, he's guilty. You know, it doesn't really matter. And they was just looking for the guilty. They weren't looking for the evidence or, you know, what was being presented. So I think a lot of times with the jury, they come in and they make their decision before they know all the facts, and they search for the facts to make them keep their decision that they already made, their preconceived decision.
And, you know, that's definitely evident because the trial started. The trial started January 24th, 1995, but May 4th, 1995, the Goldmans filed a wrongful death suit against OJ. And because they were ready for the verdict either way. So when the trial was over with, boom, he got to come right and deal with us. And they had already deemed him guilty anyway. What was somebody say?
She said I don't think it was mostly the jury. It was Johnny Cochran.
Yeah, I agree. Johnny Cochran was brilliant, because, you know, at first Superior was in front, and Superior was, again, he was going to fight them like him. But Johnny Cochran wanted to fight them like Johnny, and he was amazing lawyer. So he filed a wrongful death suit against OJ May the 4th. Here's the thing that got everybody. June the 15th, the day before my birthday, 1995, Simpson tries on the gloves and it was connected to the case, and Simpson said they don't fit. Mm-hmm. And that's when, what's his name, Chris Darden, he said, well, you know, you trying to play everything. It was clearly showed that big as OJ Simpson hands is, those large gloves weren't going to fit that extra large hand. He had to force himself in those hands. Why do you think that? So, do you think that they had to rush to get these gloves because they had to get them blood on there?
It's possible. I think a lot of that didn't coincide with what they were trying to say. With the gloves, it was like blonde hairs in the gloves. They didn't find any black hairs in the gloves. The gloves had blonde hairs in it. The truck, the Hertz truck or van or whatever, had access to that. So that was one issue. Like, you can't say that just OJ was in this truck when basically people that staffed his house had access to this truck, you know. So his children had access to the truck, you know. So that's like, you can't just say that it's just him. So yeah, it was definitely a situation where that was like their main thing, these gloves, and they didn't fit, so they didn't know what to do with that, you know. And the thing with the blood that you were talking, that's real interesting, that you had that separation for a certain time period before, you know, and that by the time they did it, it was way too late. It shouldn't have came up the way it came up. So it was definitely planted. So, and
we're gonna talk about that.
That's pretty sad.
We're gonna talk about that.
Once you've done that, then you basically tainted the crime scene. So what can you use?
And Mark Furman.
Yeah.
See, obviously they wasn't thinking, or they figured because he's a racist anyway. Because see, he was another one. He killed the case. He killed the case because they got you taped saying the N-word. They got you on tape saying the N-word, but then you want to say what you found. But is a person really that careless, or stupid? I just killed somebody, and I got all this blood on my sock. And am I going to just throw the blood on my carpet in my house? Now, if you got all that blood evidence when you discovered their body, why you question me the next day, and why you want my blood?
Well, you want my blood to test my blood, but why would I have all that blood all over the place if I just killed somebody? And I got to go get on a plane. Like, how's that going to work?
Right.
It would have been flight canceled, next flight, something, you know. It's real bad. It's real crazy that somebody could just railroad somebody like that, try to push them up in a corner and say that they did something that they know they didn't do. But it's been going on for years. So that's the thing why everybody applauds the fact that OJ was not found guilty when he wasn't guilty, but that he wasn't found guilty for a crime that he did not commit. You didn't look for anybody else. You didn't look at the hard evidence. All you did was focus on this man because he's a high profile Black man. And he's a positive person, you know, for his community or whatever. Even though he said whatever he said.
Right, because you know that now let's not. I ain't about to be no OJ praiser because OJ didn't care nothing about Black folks.
Right, so
let's be real about this.
Right,
you know, you heard us saying because hold on now, because OJ,
he not Black, he OJ.
Right, because you know, listen. OJ, you know, that Orenthal, that's his real name. Orenthal. That Orenthal went away to OJ.
Right.
You know, he was running, listen, he was running in them Hertz commercials. He wasn't running in Midway. He wasn't running no black airport.
Right.
He was running in them, you know, let me stop that. OJ, let's be real about it, because, you know, they asked OJ when he was in college about the Vietnam War. They asked OJ, what did OJ think about what was going on in the neighborhoods? And OJ still clear. I don't see no racism. I don't see none of that.
Right.
But see,
he didn't know he was Black, but we know he Black.
Right. See, you know, but see, then OJ, you know, and listen, I don't want to see no innocent man go down for something they didn't do. But again, OJ played that race card when it was convenient for OJ, because OJ didn't want to be associated with Black. He didn't want to be associated with our people. He wasn't one of the people that, you know, he was basically like, listen, I like living over here. They open the door. They accept you as one of us. And now you in trouble. Now I want to play the race card. You know, now, you know, white folks treat me bad. Okay. You weren't playing that card when you were, you know. When
you were enjoying and living in the lap of luxury.
Because if it wasn't Nicole Simpson Brown, if you'd have killed somebody named Shaniqua or somebody, would they still be publicized in the way it was, you know? And you know, you think about that. So when you look at OJ again, OJ didn't care about the hood, but he played the hood card.
OJ don't give a blank about us.
He sure did.
He probably still don't.
And he still, you know, so, but it was convenient, and he would see, and here's the thing, black men and our community been railroaded for years, but OJ's sister had the money. And listen, he was smart enough to go get Johnny Cochran. He was smart enough to get a dream team, because a lot of people that's locked up or trumped up charges don't have the money to get a dream team. So, you know, when you look at that, but the prosecution rests July the 6th. The prosecution rest, okay? Then the defense took over. And the first person they went after was Mark Furman. You know, they had tapes of Mark Furman being a racist, saying the N-word, talking about setting somebody up. They had him on tape. And he kept saying, I plead the fifth. Mm-hmm. But it was September the 27th, 1995, that a brilliant lawyer by the name of Johnny Cochran has said the greatest phrase in the legal history that I've ever heard. He said, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Let's stay right there. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Go ahead. What you think about that?
So just what it says. If it don't fit, you must acquit. He can't fit those gloves, so there's no way that he wore these gloves to commit this crime, because you wearing gloves, your gloves are going to be of a snug fit for you to handle a knife and, you know, kill two people single-handedly by yourself. You know, that's another thing. You by yourself and you killing two people, and you just no.
Think about that.
They're not going to try to defend themselves. You know, I don't, you know, it's not.
Make you say, Did I tell y'all she was good? Good. Come on. Nah. And now you think about it. The trial begins January the 24th, and the prosecutor rests July the 6th. That means they went almost 5 months. Let me show you something. The defense, Johnny Cochran, they started after July, okay? Johnny Cochran said that on the 29th, they rested. In between the 29th and the 27th, they had a great pathologist, forensic expert. His name is Michael. I forgot his last name, but he is the one that is on the show Autopsy on HBO. Okay. He is one of the greatest forensic scientists you would ever want to meet. He ate the prosecution case up. He ate their case up to the point where he said that when blood is released from your body, the oxygen is immediately taken out, and it gives that's how we find out how long somebody been dead, by the blood. And when the oxygen separates from the plasma of the blood, that shows when that person or when that part died. So it showed that the blood on Ron Goldman and the blood on Nicole Simpson was dead hours or probably days prior to this new blood getting on their system.
From OJ.
Because if it was the same blood at the same time, you're talking about a matter of minutes or even an hour. Even if you go as far as an hour, you can see you would have more plasma, more oxygen in that plasma. But it was not there because they got the blood from OJ Simpson and brought that evidence back. And the reason why they had to get that blood quick enough, so obvious, whoever planted him, it was probably Mark Furman. He's not a science buff, or they didn't really think this out because they wanted to get OJ, period. Let's get you. You know, you've been too high a price. So right then and there, that's what, and he testified for up 2 days and just creamed. Not the fact that the glove doesn't fit, not the fact that the blood was dead differently. Because why in the world? It's just like if I'm cooking dinner all together, the whole place should be hot. Why is it that my chicken cold but my food hot? Because obviously I cook that first and then put that on the table. But if I cook it all at once, it's gonna all be hot. Setup. I mean, what you think?
I agree. Definitely a setup. I mean, it's just it's crazy because with Mark Furman, that's probably something that he did all the time. So he didn't think that they were going to go as in depth with it as they did. He didn't realize that now you're dealing with somebody who actually has the financial means to have someone else come in as an expert and actually dissect what you're trying to introduce to this court system, you know. And he's actually a person that has the means to fight for his life, because this man is fighting for his life. He's on trial for murder of 2 people, you know. So, and he's a black man, and these are 2 white people that he supposedly stabbed to death in front of their home, in front of Nicole's home anyway. So.
And think about it now, people of God. Again, I want to definitely hear your questions, your comments. 708-223-8953. Let's go to October the 3rd, 1995. Where were you at October the 3rd, 1995? I was parking cars for general parking in October the 3rd, 1995, and I was parking a car. And I was sitting in the car and I heard the jury come back and said, not guilty on all counts and charges. Where were you at?
I probably was holding my baby, watching TV. Holding my firstborn.
What was your reaction when you heard that?
I was like, yes, cool.
Now,
like surprised, but I was happy. Definitely happy.
What talk about the divide? Why was people so divided? Why do you think they were so divided?
Because people feel like it like you said, it turned into a race thing. So people feel like they feel like he got off because he had money. They use the term "got off" first of all. Like, got off of what? He didn't do the crime, so why did he get off? And then the fact that they keep coming at him with different things as far as bringing up charges on him, saying that, you know, Ron Goldman's family brought up the charges for him having something to do with the death. What is it?
Liable.
Yeah, but what was the charge?
Civil. That he was that they found him liable for the deaths of wrongful death.
Wrongful death. Yeah, they brought up a wrongful death suit against him. How can you bring up a wrongful death suit against somebody who had nothing to do with the murders? And then how can he be found guilty when he had nothing to do with the murders? It's like you're trying to find some way to bring this man down. For what reason? Just like with, I'll bring up another person, but Bill Cosby.
Come on.
You want to figure out a way to basically kill this man's career. For what reason? I don't see any reason other than the color of his skin. I don't see a reason. Because
if he groped that many women, did that dirt that many women, and they have selective memory. Because first of all, you violate me, we're going to deal with it right then and there. Why would I wait 30 years? But see, what people don't know about Bill Cosby was Bill Cosby, Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, and somebody else had a deal in hand to buy NBC. And that deal was struck when he was with the Cosby Show, because the Cosby Show was a great wealth builder or a great income for NBC. Mm-hmm. And they offered Bill Cosby a piece of them to the point where he had an opportunity to buy. Now, Oprah backed out of the deal and got her own network. Michael Jordan backed out of the deal, but Bill Cosby was like, no, I got a signed contract. And what happened? Just like Felicia Rashad said, there's another story on the other side of money that you guys don't know about. Mm-hmm. And he got all the people to come out and see it wasn't about Bill. They don't care about Bill Cosby dying. They don't care about Bill Cosby going to jail. They don't want Bill Cosby to do either. What they want to do is to destroy his legacy, destroy what he meant. Because if you look at the old Bill Cosby before the Cosby Show, he had shows where he was talking about lifting up and building up Afro-Americans and black folks. He was a pioneer in the fact that he had a TV show where we didn't have to be thugs, gangbangers, and we could be doctors and lawyers and successful at what we do. And that was not unheard of for black shows. You know, you had George Jefferson, a businessman, and you know he was pioneer as well. But Bill Cosby was funny, uplifting, and we live in these neighborhoods. So when they look at it, they want to destroy his legacy. What do you think?
I also think with Bill Cosby's characters, he was down to earth. With George Jefferson's character, he was arrogant jerk, basically. That was his character. He had money, and now he's moving on up and leave all the black people wherever they at, and I'm gonna move on up like OJ. So it was the same type of scenario. And like you said, with Bill Cosby, he was more positive for the black community. He was more showing you, hey, you can have this, you know, this is, you know, you can make money, you use your brain to make money. You don't have to be, you know, we don't have to be on the street or working for somebody. Not only can we own our own business, we can own our own wealth. We can marry wealth. You know, we can have a wife and a husband making money and have children that are doing good and positive things. And we're actually teaching them good and positive things. You know, we're not letting them just go by the wayside because we're so busy doing whatever we're doing. So. And
you got to remember when his son Enos got killed, he was going around the country talking to people, trying to empower people and trying to lift up the black community and change the culture, which he became dangerous. So now we have to smear him and we have to decimate him, because you look at some of the things that these people were saying. How can you bring me up on trial for something that's 30 years? You know, it is amazing. It is amazing what can be done. But again, just like Bill Cosby found out, just like O.J. Simpson found out, just like LeBron James found out, you're the greatest player in the world, known around the world. You said you make hundreds of millions of dollars, but then you get the N-word sprayed, I think they sprayed on his property or something, you know, and you see that just because you are LeBron James, you're still not
completely accepted into society.
Right.
Yeah.
You're accepted for what you do.
I mean, the same thing with Oprah. Look, you rubbing off on me already. Same thing with Oprah.
We can't talk.
Right.
You too high for
Right. Same thing with Oprah. Going into a department store, she gets followed around, and then they find out it's Oprah. Oh my goodness, we're so sorry. We didn't know you were Oprah. What difference does it make if I'm Oprah?
Well, you heard the story behind that.
What difference does it make if I'm April?
She wanted to stop fire. So they said, we're not gonna fire them. So she said, okay, she bought it and fired them. And sold it. That's bad.
Nice.
So you still think about that?
Yeah. Like there's a joke about a lady who she owns a bar, and the people in the bar, and there's a racist guy in there, and he says, I'm gonna buy a round for everybody in the bar except for her. And it's a black woman. She's like, cool. But he didn't know that she was the owner of the bar.
Right.
So
you ain't gotta buy all of them. Keep buying.
Keep buying them. Buy them. Go ahead.
What, you ain't getting mad because I ain't buy you one? No, because you know what? I own it.
Right.
You buying me one anyway.
Right. Making my pockets real fat.
And think about this. For them to come back with a non-guilty verdict, it took them less than 4 hours to deliberate. Less than 4 hours, they knew that O.J. Simpson was not, because their case was just ate up. Now, here, check this out. I'm going to tell you how, when people want to get you, and how it's all calculated. Because let's think about when somebody filed a suit. Ron Goldman filed a suit. The Goldman family filed a wrongful death suit May the 4th, because they had predicted that the trial would end in October. So the trial ended with a not guilty verdict October the 3rd. Simpson was right back in court for a wrongful death suit October the 23rd. See, you get out of one court, but we're going to get you in another. And check out the jury makeup. 9 whites, 1 Hispanic, 1 African American, and 1 mixed person, Asian and African. 9 whites. Let them know, okay, we're going to make sure we get you this time. We gonna really make sure, like that movie Time to Kill. You know, you just had a brilliant, and I like a part of Time to Kill when Samuel Jackson came at Matthew McConaughey. He told him, he said, we ain't gonna never play together. Your kids and I ain't gonna never play together. I didn't get you to fight like me with them. I got you to fight like them. You know, like them. And I remember going to court. And I remember, you know, I had to go to court for visitation for one of my kids. You know, see one of my kids, mom was mad at me. And I remember the lawyer I got, her name was Betsy Worth, brilliant lawyer. And I remember this lawyer didn't like men. She had an alt against men. She was a lady who loved to stick men. And she knew every dirty trick there was. So I remember when she said how high her retainer was, and it'd probably be an extra $1,000. I remember paying her all this money, like, here go all this money. And she was like, Mr. Wright, why would you want me? And I just told you everything about me. I just told you that I really had 5 years. I maybe had 3 male clients that I think a lot of men get away with stuff. And I know a lot of the tricks to get them. And I said, the reason why I wanted you is because the person I'm going against is a pit bull. And I'm a German Shepherd. And I am going to lose. But you are a pit bull, a master pit bull who teach other pit bulls how to fight. So therefore, any trick that this pit bull do, you already know. You're the master of it. You know how to fight. I don't want you to fight her for me. I want you to fight her like you would fight her. And that's the same thing that they looked at when they got this new jury. Because you know why? Johnny Cochran fought for O.J. Simpson, and he fought that way. But this time, the Goldman's lawyer, the Goldman's prosecutor, lawyer, they had 9 whites. They only picked 1 African American and 1 Hispanic. They want to make sure they can carry the white vote. And when I look at that, that was already set up from the beginning. What do you think?
I think it's quite possible. Because they couldn't get them one way, they say, we're going to get you another way. We're going to figure out how we're going to tear you down. Simply because we think you did this. Because we think you did it. Not because you did it, but because we think you did it. And you're black. I mean, we got to bring you down. We got to figure out how to bring you down. The nation is looking at us to bring you down. But really, the whole nation wasn't. But this is, you know, how they were thinking, that the nation was looking to bring this black man down with money who's killed these white people. And it's very unfortunate that the world is that way, that the thought process is that way. Because at the end of the day, we all bleed red, you know, and we all have 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth, 2 ears. But unfortunately, some people think that the color of their skin matters that much, that they should be able to take somebody's life and legacy based on.
Now to the question. Now let's go to this point. What should we have learned, especially as an African American community, especially in our urban neighborhoods, from OJ? Think about this. Guilty no matter what, and they was gonna get OJ guilty, make him liable anyway. So when we know we're on an unfair system, why is it that we do dumb things to give away? Like, if we know the system is already set up to bury us, why are we out there gang banging? Why are we out here selling dope? Why are we doing everything like we have a shot in the bury us, wants to take away our rights to vote? Why is these things study being repeated in our communities?
I don't know. That's a good question. That's the same thing I keep asking when I am driving and I see a bunch of kids after a football game, all black, fighting each other. Like, well, what's going on today? Why are you fighting each other? Well, what's going on today? Why are you shooting each other? You know, it's it's crazy. It don't make any sense at all. So I don't have an answer for that. I'm asking the same question.
Now, was OJ addicted to the spotlight? Did they figure that because he had to have the spotlight? Because see, the Goldmans felt like, okay, we're gonna take your Heisman, we're gonna take your stuff because they can't touch his pension.
Mm-hmm.
He was awarded December the 20th, 1996, his kids, because he wasn't committing no crime, and then he was getting almost $500,000. I don't know how, but so much a month from the pension from the NBA, from the NFL. So they couldn't touch the pension because he was not committed a crime. But being the fact that he couldn't earn no money, was it that they played on the fact that OJ could not let go of the spotlight?
I don't think it was the spotlight. These are things that this man worked for. Like, he spent his whole life to get the Heisman. He spent his whole life to build his legacy in football. You know, that was his thing. When people love something, they have a passion for it, they go for it. He worked hard, and everything he earned. It wasn't given to him. And now they want to take it away from him. How is he? I mean, he's human. What reaction do you think he's going to have? He's just going to say, okay, go ahead, take my trophies, go ahead, take my legacy, smear my name in the mud. I'm okay with that. No, you're not going to be okay with that. You know, that's your life. You know, you just basically killing me and I'm still alive. I'm basically dead, but I'm still alive. I'm watching my life go down the toilet. You know, that is a painful thing. That's horrible. You got to put yourself in, you know, that place where to think like how he was thinking. You know, unfortunately, yes, his head was way too big, you know, and yes, you know, a lot of time we as a people get to a certain point and we feel like we better than somebody else just because. But like the song with one of my favorite artists, is just another day for you and me in paradise. It don't, you know, we're not guaranteed to have a place to live. We're not guaranteed to have a car to drive. We're not guaranteed to, you know, be able to go to the mall and shop till we drop without a care in the world. Everybody can't do that. And if they can't do that and you look down on them, then there's something wrong with you.
And let me show you how cold they is. February 4th, he started trial and they found him liable for damages of $8.5 million. Now, they found him liable before they even go through the punitive phase. See, February 6th, they go through the punitive phase to see, you know, they found him guilty, to see that he's liable and that he's liable for $8.5 million right off the bat. Then they go to the punitive phase, and then 4 days later, February 10th, he's ordered to pay $25 million. He's $25 million. And basically, they could touch his pension. But basically, like they're saying, is we hold this over your head that you can never make no money. You can never make any benefits. You can never be on any show. You can't be on no talk. We're going to take away your life, O.J. Simpson. You will still live good off your pension. You still got your kids, but we're going to take one thing that you have worked hard for your entire life. Like you said, we're going to take away the spotlight. Take away the people, the admiration, the movies. Mm-hmm. We're going to take away the endorsements. We're going to take away the Hall of Fame. We're going to take away all these things that you work so hard about. And, you know, like you said, you're going to be part of the walking dead. Do you think that contributed to OJ? Because we know it was a setup in 2008, January, when he wanted to go get back his things. Do you think that was a breaking point for OJ, or do you think that was orchestrated setup to make him pay? Because they wanted him in jail.
I think it was part of his breaking point. It's part of his breaking point. That's all his stuff is right here. All my stuff is next door that I worked hard for. And I got to sit here knowing that it's next door. Knowing that somebody has my things. Can I
That's good.
That's part of his breaking point. Like, I worked hard for this. How you just gonna sit up in this hotel room just chilling with my stuff? Like.
And think about this. They charge him with kidnapping, armed robbery. But according to that, he had no gun. And they want to give him 30 years.
His armed robbery was his arms. And he was robbing, getting his own stuff back.
30 years.
Because it wasn't his, it was theirs now. But even though he didn't give it to him or sell it to him, it was theirs now.
And then October 3rd, 2008, he was found guilty. And he did 9 years, model citizen, 9 years. And most people, that's more of a, most people that got maybe 6 months. They gave OJ 9 years. Mm-hmm. And he still got his pension. They still can't do nothing about it.
He's still paying for a crime that he didn't commit.
Yeah, now he's out, 70 years old. He got released on July the 20th, 2017. He was given bail and he got released. Well, he just got released last week, a couple of weeks ago. And the question that I have is, do you feel that OJ has learned his lesson?
I don't know, because he's done a lot of strange things that I think that he shouldn't have done, even after the fact. Who writes a book and said, what if I did it? Or if I did it? Or, who does that? Like, why would you even agitate the situation? So I don't know. I mean, hopefully he has, but no one could say what someone learns. Is that's all up to that individual. So.
Now, do you feel that Ronald Goldman's father is just OJ? It's gonna be OJ. Is OJ anyway?
Yes.
That do you feel like his intentions are racist, or he just feel like OJ Simpson did it?
He just feel like he did it. He did it, or he knows who did it, or he had something to do with it. So somebody got to pay for taking my son from me. That's also a hurting individual. Their child is gone. Somebody actually killed their son. So that's a murder. Somebody murdered how would you feel if somebody murdered your child? Unfortunately, in this scenario, the man has been tried and found not guilty. Over, now, because you don't have any proof that he did it. Now you have people out here tried and found not guilty that are guilty. You have them on video. They are guilty, but you leave them alone. So why are you going years and years and years and years and years trying to prosecute this man for a crime that he did not commit? Why are you still trying to go through back doors to put him in jail, to ruin his life, to ruin his reputation, to ruin his legacy? Why? Why is that okay? It's not okay.
And people, again, you can call in 708-223-8953. 708-223-8953. April, let me just lay it on the table. This system set up for the black man to fall? Or is it a fair system? Is it a fair system for Afro-Americans, for Latinos, for minorities? Is this system set up? And if they want you, can they get you?
I don't think it's a fair system at all. I mean, I think we all know that it's not a fair system. Both sides, black and white, knows that it's not a fair system at all. It never was from the very beginning. When you come to a country and say you discovered it, it was never lost. And then you kill, you just take people's whole lands and kill them off, whole families and tribes. And it's not fair. It's not going to be fair. Anytime you could take an individual and put them in jail and lock them away because you don't know who did the crime, but you think that maybe they did it. Oh, I like him for it, is what the term is. With the detectives, according to the TV shows, because I'm not a detective, but you like this person for the crime, so they committed the crime, so you have them locked away for years and years and find out years later that they didn't do it, but 23 years of their life they spent incarcerated. A bit of money and really never say that you're sorry. They can't get them years back of their life. They could have did some great things, but now they have to rebuild from having their not only their bodies but their minds locked away in a prison. So
let's talk about this. And people, especially if you're listening, we're not insensitive. Two people lost their lives.
mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that black folks was cheering, because they was not cheering the fact that OJ killed somebody, or they thought OJ killed somebody, or somebody died. They were cheering is like, finally somebody of a high profile status, because you look at every high profile person that has went against the government has lost. You remember when Michael Jordan, he had the thing with the gambling. They said that's why they killed his dad. You railroaded. Look at Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson, when he came out, said he was HIV. They were trying to ruin, but he came out and headed on. He did what it head on. So you're looking at a lot of people who have been ruined. You look at Tupac. Look at what happened with Tupac. I just think Tupac was trying to organize the gangs, and Biggie was a casualty of it. So everybody who's ever spoke against the government or spoke against unfair situations, from Martin Luther King to E.D.B. Du Bois to James Baldwin to Malcolm X to Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, they have always been targeted, and a lot of them have been eliminated. And see, the thing is, when we think of that, we're not being insensitive. And I'm on April, she can comment on it. We're not being insensitive, but for once, we say, wow, the system actually worked for us. What you think?
I think like the same thing. I'm not like a racist person at all. I like everybody. So like I said before, I don't know if I said it on here, but I take people for who they are, not necessarily their skin color, and not necessarily what somebody else say about them. I, give people the benefit of the doubt and allow them to show me who they are. And I teach my kids the same thing. But unfortunately, as a people, we don't always get that opportunity. It's always, they see you, and the first thing they see is the color of your skin, if you're not of their race, or whatever they've been taught. Like people from other countries come here and they're taught negative things about the Black communities. Then they go into the Black communities and find out it's not true, and they love the Black community, even more than those that tried to teach them something negative. So I think that it's a really sad issue and a sad situation that we don't really have a true unity until they're affected. Twin Towers. Then everybody, let's come together and show love. But then after all that, it never died down to me, even though I didn't know anybody who died in the Twin Towers. That was still a big deal. Families lost lives, and kids didn't have parents anymore. And, and these natural disasters, all these things matter. Puerto Rico sitting for months and months without assistance from the U.S., Haiti, but let something happen in France or, Europe, then you want to run and go help. Like, how does that work? Why is that okay? How is that fair?
And you know what? Let me say this. First of all, my heart goes out to all the people that lost loved ones in Las Vegas and everyone. But how dare you not call that man that did that shoot not a terrorist? That was a terrorist act. I call anybody that take anybody's life unfairly, you are a terrorist. Mm-hmm. That's what terrorist does. Mm-hmm. But they say he's not a terrorist. Disgruntled American that had psychological problems and mad at the world. No, he's a terrorist. Mm-hmm. He is a terrorist. And see, we got to label, we got to say what it is, that we don't want to call him a terrorist. He is a terrorist. Them people lost their lives. But here's the thing. He carried up. They said when they found his body, he had all kinds of about 10, 11 rifles. They say he shot for 10 minutes straight. You know how long a minute is, 60 seconds? And this man shot for 10 minutes straight. So many people hit. And they say he had enough rounds and enough stuff. can you not see him going up into a room? But then you tell me that you don't have surveillance on that. But then you have no explanation for Tanika Jenkins being murdered, being found in a freezer. You know, it is amazing how we look at stuff and how we could label one thing and then not label another.
Mm-hmm.
Going on, I think O.J. Simpson to me was a wake up call, and should be a wake up call, and still a wake up call for people that you are in an unfair system. And the thing you should have took O.J. Simpson is to straighten up what we do and do stuff smarter. Because if you already see, just because you can survive in the system don't mean you have a place in it. Let me say that again. Just because you can survive in a system doesn't mean you have a place in it. We have been surviving in an unfair, unjust, racist system for years. And the only thing that's changing about the murders today is that we have cameras on our phones where we can view it and it's being seen, and we're talking about it like this on platform. But let's be real about it. If OJ wasn't OJ and had the money OJ had, or things happened again, we would be in another situation, or we wouldn't even be talking about OJ. But we're talking about OJ because of what he did, because of the life he lived, the society he lived in, and now he played the black card. And people of God, we got to stop always playing the black card and start living the black card. Let me say that again. We got to stop playing the black card. Living a black card. We got to stop living for building up our community, building up our people, empowering our people, instead of wait till we get in trouble and then want to scream racial divide, racial disharmony, and racial unfairness. You know what? Let's fight together. And then we can say, okay, Black Lives Matter because Black lives are living, not Black lives matter because Black lives are dying. I get tired of hearing everybody always talking about Black Lives Matter because of Black lives dying. Black lives should matter because Black lives is living. Because how can you have an abundance of life without life itself or without living? I'm sorry, they got me, because so many people, we get that so twisted in life. We always talk about, what we're doing. Because, see, tragedies happen, but too many happen, and unfortunately, the tragedies in our community have gotten to the point where they have become so often that they become nonchalant or not a big deal anymore. Again, you cannot tell me when you talk about Tanika Jenkins that they didn't doctor that or had something with that toxicology report or that autopsy. They had that. And they were paid to say this happened, but I'm telling you, a lot of things happen that they're not saying it. And again, it's up to us to keep talking about it. That's why I'm talking about OJ. That's why I'm talking about it, because people, if you think you live in a just system, you as crazy as the system that's keeping you down. Go ahead.
Okay. I think that when you said that we're living in a system where we don't belong. I think we do belong in this system, and because we built this system.
Come on.
It was built on our ancestors and our people's backs. So we definitely belong. We just have to make some changes. We have to use our minds and use our dollars for ourselves instead of, thinking that we have no voice and not voting because no voice. Like, how can you not think you had no voice? What happened when President Obama was the president? Do you think them racist whites voted for him? No, those were your votes that counted and made him be president. So your vote does matter and your vote does count. So we have to use our minds, and, just start thinking differently. We need to change our thought processes. When we change our thought processes, then we change our beings, we change our hearts. We need to, about different situations and different outlets that there are for us to get laws passed and rules changed and things of that nature. And we know that our government isn't necessarily going to do that for us because, again, they don't necessarily, we're not their greatest concern, apparently. We're definitely not their greatest concern because they feel like they could kill us and keep it moving. It's okay. I was afraid. Well, why are you a police officer? Why are you walking around with a gun? If you that scary, you shouldn't have a gun. If you that afraid, you shouldn't have a gun. Desk, taking notes, processing some paperwork or something. You do not need to be on the street with a gun. Oh, I'm afraid. This man is sitting in his car saying, I got papers for this weapon that I have. I need to show them to you. I'm going to reach for my papers just like anybody else would do. You have to announce what you're doing. Otherwise, they're going to shoot you. They still shot the man dead with a kid in the car and a woman. So it's not okay. And the system is not just to us. And he is walking free. So
now, look at you. Come on, good. That five. Look at that. See, they got the dynamic here. Take us to right now, OJ kids. What effect do you think that this had on their kids? I'm OJ Simpson's son, or I'm OJ Simpson's daughter. My mom has been stabbed to death, and my daddy is accused of her murder and found liable for that. And he was awarded custody. What do you think that conversation that first week was like?
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine that. I think that it was absolutely difficult for all the families involved in that whole situation, because this was a man who was a part of Nicole's family's life. You know, they knew him. They knew what he was about. You know, they knew the type of person that he was. And then he has kids that he loves with this woman, and she's gone, and everybody's saying your dad killed your mom, and they probably know that their dad didn't kill their mom, but then they have all these things coming at them, and maybe they have the thought, oh, what if he did? You know, then how do they feel? You know, that's a horrible situation, a horrible place to be in. I wouldn't want that to ever have to live that scenario. Excuse me. I would never have to live that scenario as a parent or as a child, to think that my mother or father killed, you know, my mother or father, or, you know. You think, because I know he got a daughter and a son, do you think that they asked him that question? Dad, did she ask, Dad, did you kill my mom? You know, because I know the family reunions ain't going to be no family reunions no more. And could you imagine the mental tug of war those kids got to be under? Do they have anything to do with the kids anymore? You think that Nicole Simpson family have anything to do? Of course, those are their grandkids. I hope they do. You know, if they don't, then shame on them. But I hope that they do, because the kids still need that part of their life. You know, that's their mom's parent. So, I don't know. I think that that's a very difficult place to be. And I think that if they have an open connection, I'm sure the question was asked, well, Dad, do you even know anything about it? You know, they asked the questions. I'm sure they did. If they have that open communication, and if the questions came to them, I'm sure they had that discussion. But that's like one of the other things that this man have to go through. That is so extremely personal. You know, he's going through all these personal things, and then he got all these public things going on with him. And it's just a spiral that his being is enduring. Like, how does he function? Like, if he smile, he's being, you know, sarcastic, or he's saying he did it. If he smile, if he have a happy moment, then he's wrong. Like, he's not, he's human. So, you know, he's alive still. So, I mean, it's a bad place. Now, here's the $1 million question. Is OJ going to remain free, or is OJ going back to jail? Is he going to do something to go back? Has he learned his lesson at 70 years old, people? Here's my question to you, April. Is he going back to jail, or is he going to remain free? I have no crystal ball, but I think that he's learned from everything that's gone on, everything that's happened in his life. I hope that he on himself, and he's thought about a lot of things, and he obtains a different circle of people, you know, people that are not going to encourage him to do dumb stuff or stuff that is out in the ordinary that's going to get him in trouble. I hope that he thinks, you know, a little bit longer before he reacts to certain things. Maybe he can, if he hasn't already, have that a counselor, somebody he can go to when he feeling a certain type of way or he's thinking thoughts that he know are not positive or healthy thoughts towards himself or other people.
Now, do you know that Christopher Darden and Marsha Clark had a relationship?
Nope.
You know, they had a relationship. There was somebody obsessed with, you know, when you look at with this trial and this divide, there are people that's obsessed. I read where Christopher Darden slept with some fans of the people that was so fixated on this case. But let's talk about the lawyers. We already know what it did for Johnny Cochran was bad anyway, but we already knew what Johnny Cochran, you know, was bad. What do you think the outcome of this trial did to the lawyers on OJ's side? And what do you think it did to the prosecutors? Because you got Marsha Clark still saying she's haunted by this trial.
Yeah, she's haunted because it was a high profile trial and she lost. So she's haunted by not getting the win and the accolades of the win. So that's what she's haunted about. She's not haunted because she think OJ did it, because she knows that OJ didn't do it. You know, maybe she's haunted by the things that she know that she didn't present, as far as who really did do it, or as far as the other suspects, because nobody else was looked at besides OJ. You know, maybe that's what's haunting her, but it's not. She's not haunted by thinking that OJ did it, because I just don't believe that he did. I really don't.
Okay, now let me flip the script. You know, I got to flip it now. What about all the black folks that OJ did? I know a couple of black folks right now. The station owner believed that he did it.
Right. I just think for you to really think that, I mean, I don't want to call nobody dumb, but I mean, who's going to kill somebody and just walk around with all this blood all over the place, all over their property, you know, and the person lived like right next door to me, and I'm going to kill them and leave all this blood all over the place. That's just, it's too much evidence to have around and then not confess that you did it.
And how many people?
Because if you did it like that, then you are ready to say, yeah, I killed him, I was mad, or whatever happened. You know, like that's what you want if you do that. You know what I'm saying? Sorry.
Your faces. Hey, y'all see these faces she made? You see, I'm ducking behind the mic. She get this look and she follow her mother. Man, I'm like,
yeah, like you psycho. Like I killed him.
Man, listen,
they made me mad.
Where her purse at? Her purse over there. When she start reaching for her purse, this show is over.
Hey,
I'm at the door.
I'm gonna tell you. I got my strap in there. You good?
Yeah, as long as you keep that purse over there. And she on national radio saying she got her strap. People, if there ain't gonna be no OJ Simpson here. You ain't getting off this one. You got her confessing it.
I ain't confessing Jack.
National radio.
Just because I have a weapon don't mean I'm gonna use it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay. Man, thank you for letting me know.
Protection only. I'm not scary.
Man,
I like these little police around
you see my comments are nice. Like, how you doing?
Oh,
right, you know.
You're safe. I'm here to protect you.
Be like, you know what? He talking crazy. Let me go ahead and get him. OJ Simpson him.
I'm not going to go Medea today. I promise.
You know the cold part about it? You know, the people, you know, this high profile, they make jokes about it. You don't have your OJ you. That's cold-blooded.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
And we think about that. We think about, you're right. And that's a very good analogy, because they thought they had OJ. It's a very high profile OJ. Now, look at F. Lee Bailey. Look at Rob Shapiro, Johnny Cochran. I forgot the other lawyer. Their careers soared. You know, do you really think that, why do you think, and I what was the great fascination in your mind with this whole trial? What was the great fascination? Was it because of O.J. Simpson?
Mm-hmm.
Was it because of what happened with Rodney King? What was the fascination, and what's the great divide with O.J. Simpson?
I think it was both. I think the biggest thing was that it was OJ. Like football, this nation is like football crazy, and then like to have somebody like OJ have be accused of murdering two people by himself, and being on trial for murder, you know, that was like sensation. Like people who are into sports and things like that, which is most people are into some type of sport. Some people don't really like sports, but most people are into some type of sports, so they know about sports, or somebody they know watch sports. You go to the Super Bowl parties, and maybe you don't even like football, but you'll still go to a Super Bowl party and participate. So this is something that touched like everybody because it was OJ, so.
Now, what have you got to wave out and say? Well, there are phone calls saying that OJ did beat Nicole Simpson, domestic violence, and the police was called out of there. So why, why he couldn't have committed murder? What would you say?
I would say that the evidence shows you that if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. So, the evidence shows you that he did not kill them. Yes, they had domestic violence issues, but it wasn't like it was like a constant thing. Like they had a couple of altercations, and one altercation where I think he actually did put his hands on her, but I think it was like maybe 2 or 3.
And so, Ronald Goldman didn't. Somebody said he was, may have been gay or so. I don't know. But Ronald Goldman looked like he was fit. Now, I know OJ is big, strong football player, but OJ is old now.
Well, then he wasn't. And also, you have 2 people. And even when he was doing his interview, when they were interviewing OJ at the police station, he was saying that Nicole is kind of a fit woman. He's a fit man, so of course he's gonna have a woman who is fit like him. So she's fit. Then you have a adult male, and you kill both of them by yourself and take all the blood back to your house. No.
And then what the forensic specialist said was that it was almost a half an hour between the murders. So that means while one getting killed, what is the other one doing?
Right.
Just standing there. Okay, I'm gonna wait till my turn.
Right.
Wait till you kill me.
Exactly.
Next.
Exactly. So I don't know. We all just speculating right now, and it don't really matter because it matters because of all the turmoil that his life has gone through after the fact. But the fact that he's found not guilty, leave him alone. Let the man live his life. Let him figure it out. Because his whole situation, if you really think about it, if you put yourself in his situation, then you would probably do worse things than he did. You probably wouldn't be alive. You probably would have killed yourself. They probably wouldn't have chased you in a Bronco. You probably would have, when you found out, that somebody is saying that you killed your wife and now you're about to be charged with murder and your kids is looking like, daddy, did you do it? Or something like that. Who knows what you'll do? Nobody knows.
Now, is it true that because he's still alive, that it seems like people give you more accolades or give you a pass once you become a martyr, when you die? When you take Malcolm X, Malcolm X, he was a great martyr when he died. Martin Luther King, you think about Martin Luther King, things that happened to Martin Luther King, opposed to when he was alive. Now you want to honor Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and these people when they did, because they're not here to ask you anything. And just like Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ali was the greatest years ago, but you couldn't stand Muhammad Ali. All the people said they couldn't stand Muhammad Ali for the things he stood for, the things he did. Even though you stopped him for boxing for years, he come back and still beat everybody. He beat George Foreman. He knocked George Foreman out. Everybody thought George Foreman was going to kill him. Mm-hmm. So, that makes him the greatest. But, a lot of times when you look at that, why is it that people are greater martyrs or get greater recognition when they're dead opposed to they're alive? And do you think that's going to happen to OJ?
That's a very good question.
I got my Oprah thing going on. Oprah, if you out there, I want to meet you.
I do
my
too.
Idol.
I need you in my life, Oprah. But I do for real. But That is a very, very good question. I think when you're dealing with like the Martin Luther Kings and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks and all those people, them being here is different. Like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were murdered, so it's a different scenario than with the OJ thing. Like if they were here to be a lot more change, you know what I'm saying? Well, OJ, he wasn't really for us. And now his name is pretty much smeared. But a lot of times, unfortunately, people remember the bad things more than the good things. Research for, OJ's good stuff. Because when you put in OJ's name, the first thing you're going to see is something about a trial. You're going to see something about Nicole and Ron Goldman murder. You're not going to see, you're going to see about crimes committed for OJ, unfortunately. You're not going to see OJ, the great football player. OJ, the sports broadcaster. You're not going to see that. So
now, what do you think about Honorable Louis Farrakhan? Do you think that they're making an impact in the communities, or do you think that they're contained?
No, I think they're making an impact. I think they're making an impact. I think that that it's a grounded situation. That's a grounded person, and he's a lot more open than I think he used to be. So that's what I think about that.
Because it's so powerful. Because when you look at society, you look at the leaders, and that's why it's so important. That's why I call the show The Solutions. That we don't take the now. Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he does tell the truth. And the way they try to blackball him is keep him separate. You have to be, accuse him of separatism. You stay over there. And then we look at a lot of our leaders like Jesse Jackson. You look at Al Sharpton. You look at Reverend Meeks. You look at a lot of people. Corey Brooks. You look at how Romney destroying the neighborhoods. But he used prominent. He used Reverend Meeks. He used Corey Brooks to get out there and speak for the communities, just like with Andrew Holmes and Kanika Johnson. Let's get who we think speak for the black folks out there, so that we can try to. Because how in the world he get to see something before her mom did? Because we want to Novocaine the community. And anybody who's ever had a teeth pull, they put Novocaine in you and they make you look like, make you feel nothing, even though you're getting something ripped out of your head or you get a teeth out. So when you look at what happened with OJ, even to today, it should be a wake-up call for our communities to really understand that we need true, strong grassroots leaders. We need people who just are not camera-hungry people, who always want, because if there's no camera out there, Jesse ain't coming out there. Because I had the opportunity to meet Jesse. I remember one day I met Reverend Meeks. I went to go shake your hand. You got security about to rush me. Like, wow, are you for real, man? Or Corey Brooks, you came out for Romney and you slept on the roof and you got the money, but he has economically killed our communities. So my question is, with this O.J. Simpson verdict, trial, civil lawsuit, and new trial, new incarceration, and new release, what do you take from this, and what do you teach your kids from this?
I still teach them to just be mindful of their surroundings, the people they're around, the areas they're in. I still teach them the same things and teach them that they have a voice and they need to use that voice. If they believe in something, then they should fight for it. They should go for it. They need to vote. They need to go to different meetings for different stuff that they're interested in. I need to, we need to be humble, stay humble. Don't get so high and mighty on yourself that you miss you miss an opportunity, or when you fall, there's nobody there to catch you because you done burnt all your bridges. So, I mean, because stuff happens and we're all human and everybody needs somebody at some point in some time. So
This O.J. Simpson fad or O.J. Simpson case, and would this ever die? Would they be talking about this when we old?
oh yeah, no, this is gonna be talked about forever because it's O.J. Simpson. It's they deem it the trial of the century, but it's really a bad situation. It's gonna be talked about just like Bill Cosby is gonna be talked about. You know, it's gonna be talked about because these are people whose legacies were snatched away from them, and this is something that we have to always keep our kids in the know about, because if we don't, it's going to be said that it didn't happen. So we have to keep our own out there and in the forefront for our kids, because nobody else is. The government is not. The school system is not. So we have to make sure that we're teaching them what's going on and what's happening. Because if we didn't, they'll say slavery didn't happen. You know, I teach my kids when it comes to certain issues, I tell them not long ago, because their grandparents were,
Right.
marching,
Jim Crow,
with different people and getting punched in the stomach and getting beat up by racist white people, trying to fight for the rights that we have now. So it wasn't that long ago. And they quick to try to get it back to there. They quick to try to say that there are no leaders. There are leaders, but the leaders are not really stepping up right now because we haven't really had to. So it's time. It's time.
Now let me pick your brain now. It's time to pick my Nicole.
Don't pick my brain. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you right now.
What OJ? Was it the fact that he tried to live? Because you know where I'm going. Look at she started balling her fist. What her purse at? It's over there. Was it the fact that OJ did not care about his community and left his community? Was it the fact that OJ wanted to live in high society outside of his race, or he wanted to live a certain way? Was it the fame and the accolades? Was it marrying outside his race? Was it not wanting to be involved in social issues? What was it, the defining factor that killed OJ and set OJ on this spiral that ultimately ended up in 2 people being murdered, which I don't think he did, a trial of a century being set up to the fact that he did spend time in jail. He did lose everything. And what was it that brought OJ down?
I really don't think that it's anything wrong with wanting to better yourself and want to live good and want to have your children live good. I think the problem is with anybody thinking that they're better than somebody else, because then you're basically a terrorist and a racist when you think that when your thought process is that you are better than somebody else. Now, some people don't have money and all these things, but they still think that they're better than somebody else. There's still something wrong with that. To me, that's just my personal belief, because I know people who don't have money and they don't have everything, but they still think that they're better than somebody else. They still think that they're deserving of whatever. They have a sense of entitlement. So I don't think that those were the main things. I think that there was some money involved somewhere. I'm hearing about some money involved with some type of endorsements or something that he was trying to get involved with. Maybe with the gambling or the drugs, all those different things. The fact that he really didn't support his community. I don't know what type of people that he was around during the time of his career in football. So I don't know if those were like the complete contributing factors. I think they could have something to do with it, but I think the fact that just got himself, his head was too big and blown up. So, and he made some bad decisions after the fact, after the trial. I think that's what made his spiral after the trial. It wasn't the murder. It was after the not guilty verdict. The decisions that he made after that.
Now, my belief, and I'll give you my thoughts. My thoughts, I don't think he did it, but I think that he's a Judas. And I think that the things that happened to him was the fact that you did alienate your people, that you want to live in a high society, you want to not be connected to the urban neighborhoods and the urban places, even though you want to sell to us, even though you want to live in a high society, you want to get that blonde on your arm, you wanted to live a certain way. And what happened was, when that society ate you up and wanted to railroad you, then you came back and you played that black card, you played that race card, you played everything that you shied away from in the civil rights era and the Vietnam War and all these things they asked you about when you was at USC, when you were at USC, when you were some other places that you didn't want to get involved with. And see, that to me, your disconnection from the community that you grew up in, your disconnection is what started your spiral. Now, being who you were was a victory for us, but then it really wasn't a victory for you, because what happened, they end up setting you up later to get you later. So you actually did time, and I understand you were fighting for what you said was yours, which rightfully it was yours. But being that it was taken, and being that you were railroaded for the system, and see, I want to have the respect of a culture, of a people, but at the same time, I want to make sure that that's not at the expense of my own people. I don't want any accolades from somebody where I have to disassociate, disenfranchise, or belittle my own race. If I do that, then I'm no better than the oppressor or the people that oppress people. And I think that OJ forgot that. Just like just like Michael Jackson, rest his soul, he forgot that. So many people have forgotten where you come from. And see, I always say, you ever hear me preach and say something, I always say, can God trust you with his glory? Because see, some people God can't trust with their glory because they start be thinking it's them and study what you were brought through. Just because you've been through something does not make you an expert on life. And sometimes we have to sell ourselves, to be and to a point to be mentally accepted, because we have to be non-threatening. But OJ, just like so many of our prominent black people, get in positions where they want to be more accepted. Then, I mean, you think about this. You got Michael Vick still apologizing for fighting dogs, but then you got other people some people who've killed people. But again, what is the price you have to pay for that fame? And just because you pay me this much money, am I not a man no more? Am I a property? Am I an investment, or am I an asset? And see, once we realize that, because see, one thing about me, whenever I have to be somebody's flunky, or they have to silence my voice to not speak the truth the way God has given me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, then I hang up my microphone. And that's what it is based. O.J. Simpson forgot that. And I'm gonna tell you something that's gonna blow a lot of people away. The reason why the racial divide was not a black and white thing as much as they felt that OJ was one of theirs. We treated you like you were a house. And what happened? As soon as the house got caught on fire, you ran right back to the field. That's just a nice way of saying it, because I got the producer looking at me like, yeah, why would you say? But let's just be real about it. You got on the house, and when the house got on fire, then you want to run back into the field and act like you one of us, but you've been up there a long time, and a lot of time you're not. So O.J. Simpson, your downfall started when you disassociated yourself from the same people you used to get off. Same community, same people, and same card you disassociated yourself from. Now you use it to get out. You know, why am I going to use a get out of free card, jail card, when I wasn't worried about my people being locked up, persecuted, or dying in jail? But just because I want to get off and I want to get off, I'm going to use that card. So the reason why O.J. Simpson paid the price and still paying the price, because O.J. Simpson played a color line, a visible color line that exists morally, spiritually, and financially. And as soon as that color line and that line, that quiet line, became a prison or became your downfall, you went back on the other side and you wanted to play that card. So that's my opinion. Go ahead.
You kind of went into the things that I was thinking, to say that you cannot disconnect your being, your culture. You know what I'm saying? Whatever God, disconnect from that, because your creator created you for a purpose. And if you try to walk away or disassociate you with that purpose, you're not going to live your life to your full potential. You're not going to fulfill that purpose. And when things happen, you're going to feel the consequence of that. So when you're of a different nationality, or you're a different nationality, whether you're Black, whether you're Hispanic or whatever, and you get around a different culture and you decide, well, I don't want to listen to mariachi music anymore, or I don't want to listen to whatever kind of music anymore. I don't want to dress a certain way. I want to dress like these people dress, even though those are not necessarily your people. You want to disassociate yourself with where you truly come from. Your roots are your roots, and you can't cut them off. Just like you can't cut off your family. Your mother is your mother. Your father is your father. Your cousins are your cousins. You can't take yourself away from that. And true self. You have to be your true self. So either people are going to accept you or they're not going to accept you, but you have to be true to yourself. You can't be somebody else. You can only be you.
People of God, I thank you so much for tuning in. I told you my co-host was bad, and
bad meaning good.
Being bad meaning good. She's awesome, amazing woman of God. So people of God, I hope this was a very informative show. Tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow's show, I'm gonna be talking about abortion. And people say that abortion is murder, and we talk about the Bible. But my question to you guys: if somebody was brutally raped or was forced to have sex, do they have to have this baby? And is that considered murder, being that it was against their will? Not somebody that just did it and then said, okay, you know what? I want to have abortion, but somebody that actually was forced. And for all these church people, these pseudo-Christian people, what if it was your daughter? Would you still feel that it was murder? And does God look at it as murder? We're going to get deep tomorrow. I hope I have my co-host tomorrow. If not, we're going to get into it. April, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye. No. Yeah, thanks for having me. It was awesome. I wish you guys could have called in. I know some people probably at work or whatever, but I thank you guys for watching, and just let us know what you think about the show.
All right, people of God. If it was easy, there'll be no April. If it was easy, there'd be no Minister Corey Wright. If it was easy, there'd be no Earl Winfrey and the Solutions. If it was easy, there'd be no Wanda Balter, the greatest producer in the world. There would be none. And if it was easy, most important, it would be no you. See you at work. Peace.
Peace.
Faith is the key. Open the doors and board in. That's right.